Yeah, there we go. We are live. Kia ora tato. Welcome back to another Q&A style event here at Digital Boost. I'm Georgia Hatzis, your host. Today, I have the lovely Sarah Locke, who is with us from Amazon Web Services. We're going to be talking about how Amazon Web Services can help you with some funding mechanisms and the mechanisms they have in place to help your small businesses. And Sarah, you can tell us a little bit about yourself. We were talking earlier about how you work on the team that helps new business here in Aotearoa, small businesses and startups and all of that. So I know we've got your style of business owner here in our group. If any of you who are watching live, whether on our socials or here in the Zoom, want to ask any questions, please join our conversation. Any that maybe feels fuzzy to you, no questions are bad questions. We want to know what you want to know, and pop them into the Q&A or into our comment section. I will field those for Sarah. Sarah, welcome. Thanks for spending your Thursday morning with me.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Yeah, really looking forward to the conversation. So, as Georgia said, I'm Sarah from AWS. I've been here with the business in New Zealand for just over 4.5 years now, which has flown by. And over that time, I've had the opportunity to work with both startups in New Zealand and small to medium business across New Zealand as they start their journey to explore how cloud technology can help with productivity and help with business growth. So going to talk to a couple of mechanisms that we have here for organisations in New Zealand, how they work and the criteria to think about for both of those, and how they can start if you are thinking about how you can utilise cloud technology more and wanting to start experimenting with that. There'll be a couple of paths there that you can go down.
Great, thank you.
Awesome. So what I can do is jump straight into it. I am going to share the screen here. What I have found over the last couple of years with the joy of all our remote working options is that we have managed to use almost every video platform available, and everyone has a slight quirk, but I think we are up there and everyone can see my screen now.
Absolutely, you're good to go.
Fantastic. So look, what I'll do is I'll start by talking through the programs that are available to organisations in New Zealand, and invite people, if they do have questions, to just drop them in the chat, and we'll keep an eye on that and I can answer those as we go, and also happy to answer any questions at the end. But what we do have available to organisations in New Zealand are two main funding platforms where you are a customer that is going to be new to using AWS. If you've already got an established AWS footprint and that's something you're already running as a business, then have a conversation with your account manager and we can look at options there. But these programs are very much designed if you're in that early stage of digital transformation or an early stage of a startup and wanting to start building on AWS. So I'll quickly talk first to the program that we have available for startups. These programs are all generated. The Activate program for startups has come out of America. And what we do find is occasionally with the programs that are available to us in New Zealand but have come out of the global region, that sometimes aren't quite the best fit for us, but that's all right. We find a way, we embrace the grey areas and we make them work. So Activate is our program for startups. And what we would like to see if we're considering you to take part in a startup program is that you are a fairly new organisation. The criteria is that it's that your company is less than 10 years old. There is a wealth of information here, aws.amazon.com/startups. But the main bit that we're going to jump to is the fun bit, which is around AWS credits. So if you're looking at Amazon or obviously AWS for the technology side of things and curious to explore and understand where we can support organisations in New Zealand, The way that Amazon and AWS do this is very much around credits. So for startups, we want to give you the opportunity to extend your runway of your business, to give you that time to develop and get your product ready to market through the form of credits, to take away that spend and expense on the AWS and the cloud platform side, versus what we don't see as much and don't have on offer are sort of cash grants. There's a lot of other avenues that you can explore for those. So Activate, as I said, is the program for startups, and that gives you the ability to access up to $100,000 in credits. Now, I'm going to caveat that before people get too excited, is that isn't something that comes through to you in a lump sum, and there are a couple of criteria that you'd need to meet to be eligible for the full extent of AWS Activate credits. But what you can access very easily is founders credits. So that's $1,000 of credits just to get you started. And then once we're starting to look over that level of credits, there's a couple of criteria that we'd see. So the Activate credits, so those 1,000 Activate credits, they will be in your account and they will have a lifespan of 2 years that you'd be able to utilize those through. And then again, depending on your startup and what you're doing, that may go a wee bit faster. And then there's some other paths that we can look at for the next tranche of credits. So the credits are released in what we would call as tranches. And certainly what we'd recommend is that you don't go and try and find a way to get that full $100,000 upfront, because that does only have a 12-month lifespan that is available for you. And I'll confess, we've seen quite a few startups who are like, yep, get in there, they get that full amount, and then that expires at the end of 12 months and you're not able to get that again. But what you can get is tranches of up to $25,000 of credits through Activate partners. So for example, the Ministry of Awesome in Christchurch is an Activate partner that, if you remember there, they have a code where you can unlock up to $10,000 of credits, and those $10,000 have a 2-year lifespan. Then if you're looking at the next tranche of credits, there are some Activate partners like Ministry of Awesome or funding providers that will have a code for you to get the next. So the next tranche will be sort of 15,000, so it will take you up to $25,000 of credits, and that again, those first $25,000 of credits have a 2-year lifespan. And then to get that final tranche of credits, that remaining $75,000 of credits, is where we'd like to see investment in your company. So that remaining tranche of credits is typically tied to you receiving investment or being part of, say, an startup accelerator. The ones that allow you to access that full tranche of credits are typically some of the global ones. So YC Combinator, for example. So if you are a startup, that's the path you're going to go down, and you are anticipating going down a funding path, then Activate is a really good program. But I do just want to make it clear, like, it gets exciting. You kind of see this large number, but to unlock the full potential of those credits, it is typically tied to going through that path and having that investment through different firms and so on there.
And I think it's also a great point that you made about don't go gung-ho for that 100,000 if you're
No.
not going to use it.
Yeah.
Really great tip there.
It's definitely easier to sort of start exploring the different tranches and getting those credits and topping up versus being like, oh, we're still in development. We've used, say, $5,000 of credits. Can we extend them? And unfortunately, that's not often the case. There's a few hoops to jump through there. So it's a really, really great program. Particularly, I think, if you are exploring different things, that I must confess, like, I have moved away from the startup role, so I'm not as deep in the grey areas of this program and the full potential there. But certainly, as I say, key takeaways: if you're less than 10 years old as a company, you're considering going down the funding path, you're wanting to start building or exploring what that could look like on AWS, then getting that first sort of tranche of say $10,000 of credits that would last you 2 years is pretty accessible to you to get you going. So I'll pause there, and then Georgia, if you have any questions, or if there is any questions around Activate, happy to answer those now before I jump on to the next program.
I don't see anything at the moment, but I'm giving you all a chance. Even, in the next section, if you have questions about Activate, we can ask them later as well. So yeah, we're good, Sarah. Thank you.
Perfect. So what I'll do now is move to a new program that has recently become available to businesses in New Zealand, which is really exciting. It's really great to have a lot more that we can offer, and this is very much more focused to SMB organisations within New Zealand. This is a program that we managed to start across Australia and New Zealand, and it's now available across APJ. And very much targeted on those organizations where you perhaps are already using technology. You might have technology on premise and starting to think, what we're seeing a lot about cloud technology. We want a really secure, resilient platform that we run our business on and want to use a lot more that's becoming available. Obviously, we're seeing Gen AI, hearing and seeing that everywhere, but it is pretty cool. But even things around tools and technologies to unlock the power of your data and really increase that productivity across the team. Not to mention, as I said, that availability, security, and scalability for your business. So Lift is a program that's targeted to those organizations. It's available to organizations that are not currently using AWS or have a small usage of AWS. So if you're using AWS, but your spend is currently less than $700 a month over the last 3 months, then you are still eligible to take advantage of AWS Lift. Again, like Activate, it sort of has this great exciting number that draws you in of 83,500, and again, this is in US dollars, of credits that are available to you.
Yeah, Sarah, I have to say that's exciting to New Zealanders, because when you see that number with the exchange rate, that's like $3 million, if my maths are correct.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
But I will say that Lift, I loved Activate. I loved working with my startups around Activate because it is a really simple program of like, here we go. Here's a lump sum of credits. Lift is a wee bit more nuanced. And I'm in pretty active communications with the team around how we can just tweak it a little bit to make it a wee bit more straightforward. Because yes, it sounds exciting, but to unlock the full potential of Activate credits, of Lift credits, is a little bit more complex than what we'd see with say Activate. So to start off, and I think how I'd look at it, and let me bring it down to how it works, is it's almost like a spend and save, or you could really do some girl maths here of like, oh, if I just get that extra jacket, I get some free pants. But again, this replaces what was nothing. So there's something now, which is great. So how it works is you're able to apply for Lift. As I say, if you haven't been in the Activate program or received significant AWS credits in the past, then you're going to be eligible for Lift. And you apply, accepted, and then once you start spending on AWS and have $1 spend, that unlocks the first tranche of credits, which is $750. And so it goes up and kind of tiers from there around your usage and then receiving those credits. So unlike Activate, where there'd be a lot in the front and you'd kind of use it all and then potentially get more Activate, or be in a position where your startup's like, it's crushing it, we're on unicorn status nearly, and you're ready to go. With Lift, there'll be sort of a month where you'll have no bill, and then you'll have a bill, and then your next tier of credits will come in and you'll have no bill, and then you may have the bill. So that's sort of how that works. And we have had customers in New Zealand who have had that spend of $25,000 of AWS that has unlocked the full potential. But what we typically find with New Zealand companies, again, depending on the size of the company, is that it takes away sort of 50% of their AWS spend in the first 12 months that they're using AWS. So Lift again has a shorter time frame. It has a 12-month period that those credits are available to you from when you are accepted through to when they expire. And so there's more there that we'll share. I'll get all the links across to you, Georgia, so you can share those that talk through the credits, sort of those tiers, and then how you can apply as well. Now, I think as well, the other thing to note with both Activate and Lift credits is they are available across direct AWS services and consumption. There are a couple of very specific services that they don't cover that we, as you're going through Lift and working with an AWS team member, we cover those off. But really that's pretty much to stop people from using credits to mine cryptocurrency, if we're honest. So it's pretty specific there. The other thing that Lift and Activate credits are not available for usage is through additional software and products that you might procure through AWS Marketplace. So that's just something to keep in mind, that if you are looking at procuring, say, a CRM, a great way to do that is through Marketplace. So it's all part of one bill and all goes towards your AWS usage, which has benefits as that usage grows. But the Lift credits and Activate credits cannot be used for those purchases. So that is really a key overview of both of those programs.
Yeah, quick question here.
Yes.
How would it's in the Q&A. How would someone contact the AWS team in New Zealand to discuss these programs? Is there access to someone in New Zealand?
Yeah, there's me. And I'm not just the only person in New Zealand. We've got quite a big team in New Zealand now, which is fantastic. And so I'm more than happy for anyone to reach out to me via LinkedIn. And I can go over those. Through the AWS website, there is actually the ability to contact us. And those requests typically go to someone in my team as well that support me across that criteria, New Zealand and some of the different territories here.
Oh, fantastic. Just going to go through the socials and see if there are any other questions. So we've got the Activate and the Lift programs. And that's it for right now at AWS. Am I right? Or am I?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. It's a bit of a dark art sometimes around what is available to customers, but these are very much the two kind of main ones that are very accessible, very visible, and that you can apply for directly to get you started on that journey with AWS.
And I know we covered it a little bit about the Activate with being more for startups, and we're saying this one's more for small and medium business, and being around what size would you say for small, medium business? Where would we start with that? 10 employees?
One, honestly, it's available from one employee. Again, one of the fun criterias of being in New Zealand with AWS being an American company is the criteria that we work to for small to medium business is pretty broad. So really does go up to what within New Zealand and the conversations we have with companies that are probably well beyond what we'd think of as an SMB as well. So Lift is available. There isn't a criteria to lift around the size of the organization, which is great. One thing I will say is it's not available to organizations that fall within like the government sector or public sector field. That there's probably something they've got for them. But from a very small 1 or 2 person organization right through to large enterprises are now able to take advantage of Lift.
So not for a non-for-profit, for example.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay,
there
great.
are some other paths we can explore for non-for-profits.
Oh, good. Yeah, but that's good to know. And then what would you suggest, for example, if you've got a solopreneur just starting out? We've got lots of creatives in our group who come and hang out and watch. Would you recommend any one of these for them, or do you think like wait till you get a little more profitable or things start to take off a little bit more? What do you think?
Yeah, so I think if you're falling into that category of you're starting a business and you do anticipate you want to grow quite aggressively, and it is going to be quite a technical business, and you're looking at how you can use technology, then you definitely want to go down the Activate path. For other smaller businesses, then Lift is the right path to go down. But again, I would caveat it with thinking about how your usage is going to grow, and if it's going to be quite small and sort of a couple of $100 or even less than that a month initially, like hold off taking advantage of Lift until you think that usage will grow so you can make the most of the platform. Yeah,
Oh,
so
that's
I've seen Lift being very effective with some of the SMB customers where they've had a lot of their technology sort of on premise. They've had services. One organization based in Wellington that has now got very large, and we were having a conversation around, what would happen, what their resiliency planning was. And the person was like, look, I'm going to be honest with you, everything is in a cupboard behind us and we are on a fault line. I was like, okay, I think we need to start, having this conversation, and this is what, this would look like. And they were, a really good candidate for the Lift program as well.
I love that, Sarah. Thank you for bringing that example up because also, it's something that we talk about. I think a lot of people who don't, it's not even a fear of moving to web-based, but sorry, cloud-based, but it's
Mm,
more this idea of, do I need it? Why would I use it?
mm.
And I'll just, everyone who's watching or watching the replay, in October, we're talking a lot about cybersecurity. That's our October month. We've got all these events about cybersecurity, and it's such a great way to make sure that you are also protected, right? Having your information in different places, having your business in different places, especially in the cloud where it can be really taken care of. And
Yeah.
as we know, the
Oh, there's
cloud is
so many
actually
ways.
giant
So many ways.
warehouses.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like I've had a conversation and spoken to someone about the cloud, and really had to sort of talk around, like, what it was and how it works, and that it's not actually a cloud. And we do have these sites, and luckily within New Zealand we're building a region as we speak, which is great. So we'll have, but again, it's not that we've got a giant cupboard with everyone's information on a fault line. Now it's, we've got 3 different houses, and if something happens to one house, the other house is there ready to go. You won't even realize what's happened. So it is quite exciting.
Yeah, I do love that. And it is so interesting that yes, the cloud has been around for quite some time and there are still people who don't have a full concept of what it is. I mean, I admit
Mm,
that was me earlier this year. We had a whole session about what's the cloud and where is it,
yeah,
which you think is like a basic 101. Of course, everyone knows what the cloud is, but it's so good to know, like, no, this is really
no,
where things have been moving for a long time, and how how there's a facility to your business within using the cloud services.
yeah,
So yeah.
absolutely, yeah. And there's so much available. So the other one I think I'll quickly call attention to, if you are looking to build on your skills, is we do have a lot of resources available for people. AWS Skill Builder is quite cool. I had a play around. Um, there's some ways to learn in there that, if you remember The Sims as a computer game from back in the day, it's kind of like that. So I found that
Yeah.
quite a good way to learn. There's obviously a subscription you can take, but there's actually, thousands of courses, and a lot that's available there for no cost, just to start
That's
having a look
amazing.
around and understanding how it's all working. And yeah, there's a lot coming through, obviously, around Gen AI, which I think is quite an interesting topic. Sometimes I'm like, no, I just can't deal with hearing this word again. It's too much. Versus being like, actually, AI has actually been around a really long time. It's just now becoming a lot more accessible. And again, it's another tool just around that productivity piece of being like, oh, actually, I spend a lot of time manually entering these invoice details. I don't need to do that anymore. And I
Oh,
can do this. So
yeah. Talking
yeah,
about speaking
so
to
much to learn.
efficiency. Yeah. Efficiency in
Mm,
our businesses, getting our time back. No, I hear you about the Gen AI, and
yeah.
we get overwhelmed, and it's just been such a hot topic, especially in the last, I'd say, just over these last 18
Oh,
months,
yeah, it's been ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's shifting so quickly and things are
Mm,
changing so much. So you learn a little bit and then you're like, oh no, more information. But, if we just take it easy and have it in bite-sized pieces, we'll get
yeah,
there. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And just, yeah, again, I think thinking about those use cases that you're not jumping straight to, the Terminator type scenario. It's just like, oh, this can just help my day-to-day tasks a wee bit more.
I trust me, I've thought about the Terminator quite a bit in the last few years,
I
but
know. Yeah.
oh, well, Sarah, thank you so much. If any of you have any questions that might come up after this, or those of you watching the replay, please reach out to Sarah on LinkedIn or to the AWS team. You can reach out to us at support@digitalboost.co.nz. We're happy to answer any of your questions, whether they're related to this or not. That's what we're here for. And Sarah, thank you for spending your morning with me. I
No
absolutely
problem.
love this. I love the idea of Activate and Lift, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how much further this goes and how it helps boost everyone's business. So thank you.
Understood.
And thank you
Thank
everyone who
you.
attended, and we'll see you soon. Matewa.